Illustrating a travel in the form of animated documentaries and drawings help memorize an experience, as also presented as a form of art. As we saw in architect Fatima's presentation, that an illustration has a story, many a times a long story. Her observant eye looks for details in a frame which allow her to make it her own. She gives an identity to the place by doodling it and making it her own. We have our next speaker, Mr. Rakesh Nanda, who is an artist telling stories through drawings.
Thank you guys.
He graduated with a master's in design from Industrial Design Center, IIT Bombay in 2010 and has been on a sporadic artistic journey since then. He has made animated films, comics, apps, games, travelogues and many more random things. He has worked with multiple startups, corporates and as a freelancer with clients of all kinds. His clients include Lowerentas Mumbai, Plaintree Family Productions Israel, Mindtree Private Limited, Bangalore, Runa USA and others. He has designed and executed children's playbooks, animated arts, computer and physical games, illustrated campaigns and 3D characters. He has also won awards and has had the occasional feature in art magazines. Currently he is working with a startup in Bangalore on an animated messenger called Cubo, giving shape to his graphic novel and drawing stories from around him. Now Mr. Rakesh Nanda will present before you Finding Myself Through Art.
Thank you everyone and thank you so much. And, yeah, that was the topic that I had decided to be talking about, but it's kind of changed as you can see. And before I start, very good afternoon to everyone and thank you for having me here. And before I started, I thought I would give a small intro about what I do, the work I have done and who am I, but she's already done that. And but more importantly, I wanted to show what is the work that I have done. But I'm going to show that through the talk any which ways. So I'll just start by saying that I'm an artist. And that's a pretty vague term. I mean, what does it mean? And I believe a lot of us here are artists, right? Do we have any artists in here? Can we have a raise of hands? Everyone is an artist. Oh, that's great. So, can someone tell me what do you guys think is an artist? According to you? Anyone? Some raise of hands? Someone? No one? So, let me ask someone. Ma'am, you. Yeah, you just gave a talk about your. So, what do you think is an artist? Anybody who practices art. Okay. And anyone else? So you want to say what is the gentleman in the white shirt? You there, you. Yeah. What do you think is an artist?
I think, let's say, if architecture is an art to design spaces and to decipher something which has equal balance of science as well as equal balance of creativity, I think I'm an artist. So I think architecture is an art of space making for me.
Okay. Okay, thank you. So you say like something which balances creativity and your passion, which is architecture, is an art for you. And you said, and thank you so much for that, that something which is creating art is being an artist. And we don't have time, but if I go around asking everyone here, I think everyone would word it very differently, like we just saw two completely different answers. The thing is, this thing, art, being an artist, is something pretty elusive, and it's not something one can exactly pinpoint to as what is this thing called art, what is this thing called being an artist. Is it drawing, is it being creative, is it doing art, and if doing art, what is this art? So, and that brings me to my topic, which is what is art? But there are two problems with this topic. One is that it assumes that I know definitively what is this art, and I'm going to tell everyone here what is art. Obviously, by miles and I mean, I'm definitely not anywhere near being an authoritative guy who can say what is art. So that is the first problem with that. And the second thing is, it's got nothing to do with being a nomad, right? And that's the theme of today's event. So I kind of redid the topic I reworded it into something like this. It's the story of my search of what is art. So basically, it's what the point to note here is that it's a story. Basically, I've been a self-taught artist, and right from day one, I've been trying to wander around, trying to figure out, doing this, doing that. Then what is it that I always wanted to be an artist? So what is it that makes me an artist, and what is this thing called art? And I've been wandering around, trying different things, trying to figure out what it means. And to me, that is what being a nomad is all about. Being a nomad doesn't necessarily mean physically traveling from here to here, going all around the world. That is a nomad. Also, like for example, if you are Mr. Frodo from Lord of the Rings, going around everywhere, doing adventures, this territory, that territory, just to find some evil guy called Sauron who you don't even know exists. But in your heart he's there somewhere and you're following some ring, giving some intuition. You are a nomad, yeah. But then you could also be someone like Buddha who is sitting in one place, going deep inside himself and trying to find out the most elusive of things, which is what is this thing called soul, what is this thing called God, or whatever name you call it with. In that case also, you are sitting in a cave, you're not budging from your place, still you are one of the biggest nomads. Or if you are like a student who is passing out and he's not joining some typical job, he's joining some startup, he's doing a gig here, doing some freelance there, because in his heart he knows there is a calling, and he's wandering around, he or she is wandering around trying to figure out what that calling is, but doesn't know what that is. That is being a nomad. Or if like me, you want to be an artist and you don't know what the hell that means, and you're like trying out everything to figure out what it means, then you are a nomad. And this is the story that I'm going to tell about my nomadic search for figuring out what it means to be an artist. And the second thing here, why I wrote it like this, is it clearly says it's my search of what is art. So by no way am I going to pretend that I know what is art and I can tell you guys. But I'll tell you what I know, what little I've learned through my journey, and that's the only honest thing I can tell you, and hopefully that'll be of some value. Okay, so this story starts like it starts for most artists. When I was a kid, I used to doodle around, I used to draw with crayons like every other kid. Somehow I sustained that, and I started drawing superheroes, copying them from comics, Nagraj, Dhruv. I loved drawing Super Commander Dhruv back then. And Parmanu, Doga, and Superman, Batman. And people started looking at them, and they started praising me. And some of them started saying, "You're an artist." And I was like, okay, I'm an artist, so what is this thing? And I kind of liked it because everyone was praising me. So I realized, okay, I'm doing these things, and I'm creating these cool things. So maybe being an artist is about creating some cool things. And that was my first understanding of art. That art is creating something cool. And I like being an artist because it expanded my ego. Everyone said, "You're cool, you do good stuff, you're an artist." And I started doing more and more of that, and I decided I should become better at that. So I decided I should learn more tools to create stuff to create more cooler stuff. So I decided, let me learn cartooning. So I took this book called How to Draw Cartoons, and I taught myself to do cartoons. Rather than took, I would say I stole that book from my brother, who is actually sitting over here, who was so kind that he bought this book with his pocket money, and he didn't give it to me because I was supposed to pay for half of it. But I was in class 2 or 3, so I was in class 1. Thank you. So, and the only way I could get that money was by stealing it from somewhere. So I thought, let me steal the book instead. So thank you for my amazing childhood. So I got that book. I taught myself how to draw cartoons, and I started drawing a lot of caricatures of my, my class teachers, of celebrities, of my friends. I started to do little cartoon jokes around my cartoons. And guys, this is back from school, so nobody please judge me based on these. And then I did this comic book about this guy called, it was supposed to be a parody on superheroes. And so you have Captain America, Captain this, that, so I called this guy Captain Vice Captain because it was supposed to be funny. And so this guy had this superpower where he could, really, he had like huge explosive farts, and he could blow. So remember, I was in some class 7 back then, so he could, blow buildings and villains away with his farts, and villains would sometimes use like gas masks and stuff to fight him. So this was the whole premise. He had this Sardar kind of friend who was inspired from Navjot Singh Sidhu, who used to blabber a lot. So, but basically, it's pretty embarrassing to look back at these right now. But the reason I'm showing this is because with this I understood that art is about learning tools and being able to use those tools to create something cool. So with this idea in mind, I decided I should be a better artist. I should learn more tools. So when I was in engineering, I taught myself 3D. And then I got introduced to this whole new world where I could create characters in 3-dimensional space in 3D. I could move them around. I could move the whole camera. It was like a whole new world, like a whole different level than just drawing cartoons on paper. And so during this time I did this little film, which I'm going to show you. Again, it is like pretty old, and but before showing this film, a small clarification: the storytelling is extremely pathetic in this because the whole thing is told through a voiceover. The visuals don't tell anything at all, and so just so that you guys don't not get the film, I'll give a brief outline of the story. It's set in this alternate world of cartoon characters, where the purpose of life in that world is to cover as much distance as you can before you die or whatever. And so everybody in this world runs. However, there is one character called Johnny Walker who walks because he likes to walk. And so what happens is naturally he gets left behind. Everyone goes ahead in life. They cover more distances. But he doesn't really give a damn, and he keeps on doing that because that's his calling. And at the end, somehow he ends up winning, because so it's a moral science story that follow your heart, don't join the rat race, and you're going to end up winning. So I just play that for you.
Life for a character is simple. You keep running, and you try to run across a decent number of landscapes. The more, the better. So naturally, everyone in this movie runs. However, little Johnny was foolish, young, and reckless. He walked, and for a preposterous reason that he loved walking. And so not surprisingly, Johnny got what he deserved. When everyone else was busy cutting new landscapes by the second, Johnny could not even match half their speed. He was doing was different. When after grown and deserted. Still he walked. A born loser. Johnny never stopped walking. While others, who were so afraid to in the race, he made an umbrella. While being hurried to break the monotony of running, he still walked. Walking never bored him. He needed no bargains. And what a life! He walked and walked, day and night. The scorching heat of the deserts, the cool winds of Siberia, the very exposed of the mountains. Nothing stopped him. Nothing. Days turned to months, months turned to years. Still, he walked. But the monster of passion walking, behind the graceful landscapes, so behind, one day spot trying to catch up. And now, John monster, he walked on. Walking was his passion, his love, his life, and it seemed he would never stop. Until.
So, thank you. You guys are really kind. Because that film sucks. But thank you so much. But it's still pretty close to my heart, and the reason I'm saying this about the film, I love it obviously, but I'm still showing it to you because this film marked a very, it really deepened my belief, my understanding of art, that you know more tools, you can create cooler stuff. This was like 10 times cooler than the cartoons I was doing, and I felt I was like 10 times a better artist, and I understood that I should learn more and more tools, improve myself in that, and keep becoming a better artist. So that was good. I continued doing that, and I got into design school after that, and I learned a lot more about 3D. I dived headlong, learned everything I could. I started doing really much better, much richer images in 3D and animations. I understood weight, anticipation, all that stuff. I got to learn, now that I was in design school, I got to learn about composition, about character design, about color theory and whatnot. And in my head I was becoming a better and better artist because my tools were increasing and I was making cooler looking stuff. But somewhere inside it was not feeling right. It was becoming very frustrating, very painful, and the fun in the whole thing was gone. And in fact I was doing my first thesis film in my college. It was a 3D film, much better looking than this, and but I was so fed up with the process by then. I actually called my film "Shit Happens," just to underline my state of mind at that point of time. I was very disillusioned with the whole process. I did go ahead and complete the film. I'm not showing that right now, but the point is, I was feeling lost. I was understanding that this is probably not art, and I was realizing that I didn't know what it is to be an artist, what is art, and I was feeling lost, and my wanderings had started again to find out what is this thing called art. So luckily around that time I met this guy called Mr. Abhishek Singh. I don't know if you guys know about him, but probably not. But he is pretty much one of the most awesome artists in the country right now. Please do look him up. And more than that, he is an awesome person, I mean a very amazing person, and he's the one person I truly consider my teacher. So I got to spend 2 months with him as an intern, and basically what it did was he turned me out and it made me go out and start to draw from life. So I used to head out with the sketchbooks for the first time in my life and sit out and draw from people. And then something very interesting started happening. I began realizing that I was enjoying the process, one, and second, that there is so much beauty all around me which I was not able to see before, and everyday simple things started looking very beautiful. You know, things like people, you know, you have the chai shops, people sitting there in the morning, gathered around with their chais and their suttas and their newspapers, and you know, discussing politics as the morning sun falls through the little leaves and the little shadows play on their faces. Or if you know, like little kids getting ready for school with their bags behind them and their dads taking out their bikes, to pack them off to school, or as the husband stand by looking with the kids with them. So I started observing all of these things, which was always there around me, but which I was taking for granted, which I was blind to till now. And I realized that something in me felt probably this is art. I mean, I started caring less and less about how good my work looked. I started caring more and more about seeing this beauty around me. So around this time, I did a little film as my final thesis film, which was very different from anything I had done so far. It was done on a whiteboard with markers, and it was mainly about this, expressing this beauty that I was seeing around me. So I'm going to show that film, but just one small disclaimer. This is a 7-minute long film, and I do understand it takes a lot of patience to watch a film of this nature for this long a duration. But I really want to show the full film because otherwise it doesn't, because it kind of builds up towards the end. So I thank you guys in advance for your patience. And but I promise you, it won't be a complete waste of time.
Everything that happened between us, it's repulsive that she still invades my memories. I guess after all, I'm just another loser like the millions around me. Afraid of action, afraid of change, too weak to take control. Very life, very long as it pleases. They say, deep inside, we are all lonely. That loneliness is the central and inevitable truth of all human existence. How strange it is then that I'm the only one who can do it all by myself. There's always a catch in what they say. Sometimes even a bloody crow is likable. Those ugly, noisy, detestable creatures, castily feeding off the dead. Them and their stupid growing cousins, their wax victims, their gutter worms, burgling birds, bikes, cars, signboards, everywhere, stealing. One thing, they're just biding their time, waiting for their chance to take over the world. Not that it's one worth taking over, not that it's amazing what it entails. There's only bystander, memories created for friendly strangers. young men with time and money engaging in a fulfilling pursuit by doing nothing. Old women drifting into labor. Old men sweating at the bus stop. Sailors getting workers. Children working in and crying. Shady sons doing business. Loneliness. Girls and kitchens trying to raise It's better to be blind than their eyes and yet not see their face. Blinded by a apparent childlike innocence. An excuse for a long forgotten childhood. That lack of inhibition, that sense of wonder and amazement at the simplest of things. Love, untainted with suspicions and expectations. Amazing how quickly all that simplicity and beauty just vanishes in the process of growing up into responsible adults. Two years since we've been face to face, since I've heard him speak, and something else. That the world of you bullshit promises were full of lies. What makes a man pause? Pause to look up in the mirror and see the scars on our face, to see how beautiful they are. Instead, we see truth right in front of us, but wishing so afraid and afraid that we can wait on walking in the place. Afraid to live, scared to die, scared to before we notice, an entire lifetime goes by, and yet we keep running, comfortable in the belief that somehow at the end we will all marry.
Thank you guys for the patience. How many of you are bored to death? Can I have a raise of hands? Okay, no one. Just one guy as usual. So the thing is, this film was completely different from whatever I had done so far. Because here for the first time, I did at all think about the medium, about the tool I was using. I was a 3D animator, for God's sake. And this was, I was drawing on some whiteboard, and you can see the drawings look so bad. But that really didn't matter to me at this point of time. And I was simply concerned about and simply enjoying the process of expressing the beauty that I was seeing around me without worrying what is the story, what is the tool, is it looking good, is it looking bad. And I realized that probably this is what art is. That art is not about the tool. Art is not how good I am with the tool. It is about seeing. It's about seeing the beauty that is everywhere around us, and it's about the ability to see, not the ability to create, and somehow expressing that with whatever tool, with words, with 3D, with 2D, with drawings, or with photography, with anything. So with this new understanding, I felt back on track again. I realized I was an artist again, I wasn't lost, and I just continued going out and sketching every day. Drawing from life became a part of my life, like brushing, like bathing, like waking up. Every day I used to go out, spend some hours, draw from life, and I became better and better at seeing things around me, and that artist in me started growing. The artist who was seeing, not the artist who was learning some tools. And as luck would have it, a couple of years later, I got a chance to do some 3D work again, which I had hated the last time I had done for some client. It was a story of 4 kids based in Rajasthan, and they wanted to do a series of 3D illustrations for that. But the difference was, this time I loved the process of doing 3D. Why? Because I wasn't now trying to create some cool looking stuff with a tool. Rather, I was doing the same thing. I was trying to express the beauty that I was seeing, like I expressed on paper or on this. This time I was trying to express it in 3D. And I ended up creating some 3D work which for the first time didn't look plastic, and which had a sense of life in it. And for the first time, people didn't, it was about these 4 characters who, traveled around Rajasthan, and it was filled with these small details, not intentionally, but the way the artist in me was shaping up, it was filled up with these things like this guy going on the scooter, these people just chatting over there in some corner, this ganne ka dukaan, this person, lady selling, this sweet ka dukaan, this monkey sitting on that, this crow's flying, these small details which this was the concern right now. For the first time, people were not looking at my work and saying, that looks good. But they were actually, looking at it and asking me about these characters, saying, hey, I have been to this place, I have seen people driving. So they were interested in the story for the first time, and it, for the first time, started touching people. And for the first time, more importantly, I was enjoying the process of creating 3D. I wasn't calling my projects Shit Happens Part 2. So like images like this, these little things like the light falling on their face from the train, as it always happens. You see some beautiful light coming from the train window, the way their legs dangle, the way she is so tired and resting on him, and so things like these, and like things from the street, like the way the mom feeds rotis. I wouldn't even think of doing this kind of stuff before. And there's a shiny dog over there, and he's using some good shampoo. The cursor? Right. Is there? Yeah. How do you? Okay. Cool. It's shoot. So that's a dog I want to shoot. It's like shiny. I think it's made of metal or something. But the point is things like, these shops that you see all around you, these boards, which PCO, STD, ISD, this kids selling pots after school, and the person like evaluating, and simple things, simple everyday things, which are actually pretty beautiful. And the way the characters are, they're like people I see around me. And based on real people I know, like, and there's a station, there's this little details like this, like a bird sitting on top of this thing. I would never do this before. And the middle dog is back again. So turn up the middle dog. So the point was, after doing this project, I deeply understood that I was wrong. Art is not about the tool. Art is not about creating something cool. But art is about being able to see the beauty that is all around us, everywhere, and being able to be a channel to express that beauty through some medium. So all nice and good. With this conviction, I started, doing more sketches, improving more at seeing things around me, and I was enjoying the process. Getting off track right now. Until one day, I got a chance to do a film for a startup in Rajasthan. These guys were making some fun-based math activities for kids. So they were trying to make learning maths fun for kids, and they commissioned me to do a little ad for them. And I did an ad around, the extreme worries and tensions and fears that we go through on the day before our math test. So I'll just show you that film. First of all, thank you for that really cool reception. And so quite clearly there is something very different about this work, as can be seen from the difference in your reaction to the other works and this one. And that is what I'm coming to. And it has been actually, this has been one of my most loved works, and it has won a couple of awards and all. But the point is, in the process of creation of this work, something different happened. Till now, I was seeing things around me, things that were beautiful, and trying to express that. While doing this, somehow, intentionally or unintentionally, I went inside myself and I sort of meditated, or not meditated, I sort of kind of tried to get into my childhood. And from inside me, these ideas started coming out, like this character going around, just learning from the book, and then like closing his eyes and looking. That's what I used to do as a kid. Or this little kid like, like cutely praying to God. So all these ideas were not intentionally seen from somewhere and hey, this is beautiful, let me express it. I kind of explored inside me, I went inside me, and these ideas came on their own from inside me, and I just created them. So I, for the first time, realized that maybe art is not about seeing something and creating it. Maybe it's something to do with listening to this inner voice. So with this new understanding, I found that I was going less and less out to draw like I used to, which had actually become a part of my life. I kind of started, not intentionally, I kind of started that completely stopping that. I think now I don't at all go out and draw. It's a great thing, maybe because of lack of time, but what I realized is that I was actually sitting at my table, just trying to dive deep inside myself and trying to listen more and more to this voice. And during this period, I just started creating some works which were completely different from all the work I had done so far, and which were not based around things that I was seeing around me. So these works, I consider some of my best works, and not to sound arrogant or anything, but because I don't feel like if you have noticed with all the other work, I've been saying I'm ashamed of this is wrong with this is right with this, because obviously they were based on me trying to do something, trying to create something, and as I grow as an artist, obviously the use of my tools will increase, I'll find mistakes with them. But the thing with these works is what I came to understand is it's not about the work, it's not about the product, but it's about the experience I'm having as an artist. What I understood with a deep sense of wonder, the drawing or the story or the product I'm making, art is if through while doing something, I'm able to get in touch with my soul. And that soul is my soul, my heart, call it whatever. If it is able to express itself through me, then it is art. It's nothing to do with the product that is being made. So the product could be modern art with abstract paintings. It's got nothing to do with the beauty I see around me. Or it could be some story that I see around me. But that doesn't make it an art. What makes it an art is the experience. Does it take me closer to my soul? And so with that understanding kept getting deeper and deeper, and that is the understanding that I have of art right now, that as I said, art is not about the product, it's about the experience I have. And if you look at it in a broader sense, the whole of life is an art. Me talking to you is an art. If while talking to you, I'm expressing my soul, I'm not concerned about my talking, I'm concerned about am I listening to the voice inside. If making some piece of work, so like right now I'm working in this, in the 2 years a completely different kind of work I'm doing. I'm working with this startup on this thing called Cubo. Sorry, I'll come back to this. I think I'll just slowly go through these. I think all of us did this as kids, right? And this is some brother and sister just going home, chilling out. This is me learning to cycle. We always start with half cycle and then we master it and then go to full cycle. This was me, I could never fly a kite. Still can. This is not me, but I know a lot of guys. I would usually run in the opposite direction. I know a lot of guys who would actually go and kill that guy. This is one of my works which I'm really proud of. It really came from inside me. There is no amount of purposeful me doing something here. And this is a dad and daughter I know. This is, you know what this is, right? That's what best friends are for. This is, actually my dad used to take me and my brother on scooter to school. So this is kind of reminiscing on that. We used to go by the beach and all these days. I think it's pretty evident, right? That's the rose when you are a kid. And you can see it from her tummy. She's already finished 9 more tiffins. This is how free and kids are. So yeah, as I was saying, all these works are with that understanding of an artist. And now coming to my current work, I'm working with a startup in Bangalore. There's a team of engineers, there's a team of artists, and my work actually most of the time doesn't involve me drawing. It involves me working with a team of artists, getting things done with them, figuring out the product and things like that. So if with my previous understanding of art, I'm actually wasting my time because I'm not drawing and I'm not growing as an artist. But that's not what I am doing actually, because art is about my experience. So like I said, even if I'm talking, even if I spend my whole day in office doing things which do not involve drawing, but if I'm still doing it as the experience of doing art, that is art. And when I come back and sit on my table, even though I haven't drawn things for the whole day, I end up with drawing something really from my heart. So yeah, I mean, do check this app out. Little sales call over there. but it's pretty good. A lot of people love it. So that is all. And thank you everyone from the bottom of my heart. It was really lovely talking to you guys. And if anyone wants to, talk something, ask something, discuss anything, that would be even more awesome.
Yes, sir. First of all, let me thank you for that amazing experience.
Thank you so much for being patient and clapping so much.
No, I don't think it's. I don't think anybody here was bored.
Thank God.
Regardless of what your brother might
I was having butterflies in my stomach.
Anyway, my question was, when we saw the movies that you that you're making, basically I think that apart from the mechanics of drawing or using the tools to create the animations, I think most of the part was about the storytelling itself and how to create those stories and how to actually express those. And in many ways, this is what I feel, that when such courses are taught, at least in Indian context, that we tend to focus more on the mechanics and more on the tools than we do the actual soul of it or the actual storytelling of it.
Right.
What do you think? What are your thoughts on that?
Yeah, I completely agree with that. And but to an extent, it boils down to the way it is. It could be better, but then at the end of the day, like an artist's journey is probably a nomadic journey, and it has to be done on one's own, and one has to. It's really not something that can be taught, like listening to the inner voice. My experience has been, I learned those tools and I used them. I worked like crazily on them, did a lot of work, and then that understanding evolved. It's an understanding that I get. So while it is difficult to teach that, it's something we have to learn on our own. And second is, having said that, still I definitely believe that the way things are could be better. I don't know how, but
Actually, from where I'm coming from, I'm asking this as a teacher myself.
Okay.
I'm a faculty at this college.
Okay.
And this is just an observation I had because, like you said, yes, a person does have to, no question about that. The journey has to be made on one's own. But as a teacher, how can I actually go and help that student on that journey? And how do I show the way? Because most of our teaching efforts generally go in the direction of improving skill, then goes into the improving art.
Right.
So that is what I would like to.
So I really cannot tell exactly what probably I as a teacher would do, because I haven't been in those shoes. But what I can tell you is what I learned from what the one person I said I consider my teacher did. What he did was he didn't really teach me the tools which I was already learning, and he didn't really teach me exactly what to do, but since he was an artist, he knew which direction I had to take to be an artist. He didn't tell me how to draw from life. He just told me go out, pointed me in that direction, and then I learned on my own from that direction. And so, in your field, that direction, you would know better what would be to be an artist. But if someone asked me what is the best way to be an artist, I would say, without any doubt, go out and draw from life as much as you can, and then you will discover. I cannot tell you. That is what I learned from what my teacher taught me. But then again, it has to be a balance between the both, because tools are also important. But finally, one has to go beyond, and one has to be shown that it's not the tools, and one has to realize that on its own. And again, I'm not the right person to say that. I'm just saying what I learned from my teacher. So, thank you.
Rakesh, technologically related. Absolutely, okay. And this has opened a complete new window for me. Like I
Thank
know
you.
that how animation, I've seen animation. This was like a first-hand thing, that how it actually works. So brilliant. Thank you so much.
Thank you. I hope you start using technology more now.
Any more questions? Thank you, sir.
Thank you.